Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about flock cameras because this is huge news for me coming from small town USA. I'm in a rural area and what I discovered over the weekend shocked me. So I wanted to share this with you. You may have heard of flock cameras, maybe you have never seen one, maybe they're not in your area, maybe you have never heard of flock cameras. So please stay tuned in here because this is really important. It's going to affect everybody one way or another, especially even if you don't have them where you live, you may come across them in travel. So basically, flock cameras were invented in 2017 by a gentleman who got the idea from watching crime unfold in his neighborhood. This led to the invention of the flock camera, and they were distributed locally at first in 2017. By 2018, they were distributed through government contracts, meaning they were distributed among different states in the United States. But then in 2026, now we're seeing flock cameras use AI technology, artificial intelligence. They not only read license plates, they're capturing color of vehicle, what the roof looks like, if there's any kind of roof apparatus. They're also looking for damage, dents, any type of different markers on the car that wasn't original to the car, like if the car got into an accident. Some even say they can see the person in the car and record the person's facial features. When I first heard about the flock cameras coming here locally, it was told to us through news medias and papers that they would be placed on highways at certain locations. We weren't told anything other than that. And they said the reason for it was because, there's a lot of accidents, people are driving at higher rates of speed. So it was used as a deterrent to speed, is what they said. They were not going to be actively ticketing people from these cameras like a ticket by mail system. They were just going to be using them to deter people. Now, years ago in my neighborhood, we had one of those speed things. It's like an electronic digital readout of speed, and it can say slow down or you're going too fast, those types of things. They're usually orange and they have wheels on them because they're portable. We had those in our neighborhood because there was a speeding issue here years ago. This is different. These are on poles. They're installed in the earth. They have little tops on them with the solar panel, and then there's a camera. So at first when they said that, I really didn't think anything of it. I was just like, oh, it's just another type of radar system, but it's not going to take your picture. It's just going to be there as a deterrent. Then some construction started on the highway here, and they announced that they would be placed along the highway to deter people from speeding in a construction zone, as well as off of the highway ramps where people typically go on a detour to get away from the road construction. Or in the event that there is a traffic backup, people take a detour off a exit ramp. So on those exit ramps where people are most likely to detour themselves off the highway, they were going to be placing flock cameras just to deter speeders. That's all they said it was going to be. So one day I had to take the highway. I was going somewhere, traveling about 30 minutes away from home. And what I noticed was before the construction zone, there was what I thought was a flock camera positioned at one of these exit ramps, which is a popular exit ramp when there is a traffic backup. So I really didn't think anything of it. And I was only going 45 miles an hour because that is the construction zone speed. When I approached this camera though, and it wasn't even in the construction zone, it was way before, probably like a mile before the construction zone, it flashed. And it flashed 45 because that's what I was going, and it lit up red, and then I saw a quick white flash like it took my photo. I went to my state's DOT and looked up the information about these things, and they claim, no, they don't take your picture, they don't, send you a ticket by mail, they're only for a deterrent. So I thought, well, that's odd, then why did it take my picture? What is that red? What is the white flash I saw? Because everything else I've read indicates that is a live active speed camera. And this was a mile before the construction zone, placed at the position where there's an exit ramp. And I thought, this is wild. I'm not even in a construction zone yet. I was doing the speed limit. What is going on here? And let me just say this. People to my left, because I was in the right lane, They were flying by me. There were people going 60, 70 miles an hour or more. I was like standing still compared to them. Why did it pinpoint my car? Why did it poke fun of me? Why was it taking my picture? Yeah, it was unsettling. And now I'm thinking, oh, am I going to get a ticket in the mail for driving the speed limit? Is that now against the law too? So then I saw they posted a picture on like Instagram or somewhere that showed what they consider a speed camera here in the construction zone. And it said it's only taking pictures when construction is active. So like if it's a rainy day, for instance, they wouldn't have the camera, they wouldn't have people working, that sort of thing, okay? However, it looks like this big orange portable thing that they put on the back of a work truck. There's cones around it. It's a digital readout of speed. There's a sign, a big white sign under it that says active speed recording, ticket by mail in progress. What took my picture looked like a flock camera, not one of these construction speed cameras. So I thought, okay, this is getting weird, and I wanted answers, but I didn't have any. And who do you go to? You know, so I looked it up on YouTube, and people are in an outrage about it. And I had to wonder, what is next? If this is what they're doing now, what is next? And I get the whole idea that this is for safety. People need to slow down. There's too many people speeding. I get that, and I understand that. I read some Facebook comments that were like out of this world. Like somebody said, I was going 46 miles an hour and I got a ticket in the mail. And people were saying, well, you shouldn't be speeding. And I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? Have you been on a highway lately? 46 miles an hour used to be called impeding traffic. So people are driving 60, 70, 80 miles an hour in 55, 65 mile an hour zones. Some states are actually raising the speed limit. Now I get they need to limit it in a construction zone. However, 46 miles an hour, now you're getting a ticket because of a flock camera. Okay, I had to do an in-depth investigation about this because that doesn't sit right with me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Somebody might think that's speeding. To me, that's ridiculous. So let's go on so I can explain further because I don't speed. I was doing 45 and it took my picture, and that is the posted speed limit. One day I went into town. I did not take the highway. I was nowhere near construction. I went into town. It's a small rural hometown and not much goes on here, okay? I go downtown, I come back, I happen to look up in the sky for some reason. I just look up. I'm passing by a pizza restaurant, a convenience store, a general store that's been there for 100 years, and an ice cream parlor. This ice cream parlor was my hangout when I was a kid. Everybody hangs out there because there's nothing else to do around here. It's a rural town. And lo and behold, there was a flock camera right on the corner facing, not traffic, the ice cream parlor. It turned my stomach because I had to think and process that. What are the implications of that? This ice cream parlor has been known for decades as a kid hangout. People ride bikes, they walk, families go there. When I say kids, I don't mean a 3-year-old. I'm talking about, legal age to walk to the store by yourself. 12, 13. Back in my day, there was no age. We walked at 3 to 5 years old when I was raised in Gen X. Now times are different. There's a huge neighborhood there across the street. The neighborhood has several hundred houses, like a subdivision, okay? Not only that, but there's several parks where kids play. On summer evenings, families go and tailgate in the parking lot after the general store is closed. Sometimes they get a pizza and then ice cream. It's generally a wonderful thing to see, How often these days do you actually see kids outside, families hanging out together? It's nice. It's called community. So when I saw the flock camera sitting there facing the ice cream parlor, it flashed back to my own childhood. I walked there, biked there. We met friends there after school. I got all kinds of ice cream there. And I'm thinking to myself, how would I have felt as a kid if I was being watched by a camera? I probably would have stopped going to the ice cream parlor because it gives me that sketchy vibe. I'm an adult now. It turns my stomach thinking about the implications of filming children at an ice cream parlor. Now, some people might say, well, it's to deter crime. It's to deter speeders. Maybe it's keeping the kids safe because the people aren't speeding as much. People are always going to speed. I don't think it deters anybody because let me tell you something. When I was doing 45 on the highway, which is the posted speed limit, and that thing took my picture, People were flying by me. So it doesn't deter anybody. People that speed are going to speed. There could be homesteaders, elderly people, people taking care of their homes and landscapes, and they're going down to the general store maybe for some grass seed. Okay? Do you really think they want to be filmed on camera getting some grass seed? So this could affect anybody. It's not just about speeders. It's not just about criminals. It's not just about keeping people safe. There is a much bigger reason for this. This area has very low crime. When I saw the flock camera at the general store and ice cream parlor, I thought to myself, I don't feel safer. I feel violated. This past weekend, after I saw the flock camera in town, I had to go to my cleaning job. I have a weekend cleaning job and I clean multiple commercial buildings. As I'm driving through the neighborhood, I see a flock camera that I had never noticed before. It just appeared there. And not only that, but there's like a dozen that just appeared there. I don't know when they were installed. I don't know anybody who did this because I never saw anybody doing this. They have to be installed in the dirt. It must take some kind of digging machine to do that. I don't know. I don't do that kind of work. But I'm thinking a big pole with all this stuff on it. They have to have some kind of digging system to put it in the ground. How is it that I never saw them go up? Were they doing it in the middle of the night? I don't remember a town meeting about it either. I don't remember anybody coming to the public and having a vote. It looked like a metal statue in the air, electrified by solar power. The camera on it did not just face the roadway, okay? It was sideways. What does that mean for me? It's facing my house and my property, my vehicles, my children, my front yard, my front porch. I definitely feel violated now. It's not just a matter of it being in town in front of the ice cream parlor where kids gather. Now it's directly facing my front porch. When I got done cleaning, I came home and I researched the issue because that's concerning to me. Why is there a camera permanently in position facing my front porch? It's one thing for somebody to take a picture, right? There's a video camera actively facing my front porch. Because it's summer, foliage is grown in, so the chances of it actually seeing and recording anything over here is probably not realistic. But when winter comes and foliage starts to fall, it's going to have a direct view to my property. This is what I found out about the data that it's recording, okay? Flock camera data is uploaded to a cloud database. Authorized, and keyword authorized. Law enforcement can search or track stolen vehicles or investigate crimes. The video footage and data is deleted after 7 days by the Flock company, but can be saved by agencies or private groups depending on local laws. What does that mean? In other words, they're filming my property, okay? Not hypothetically, but for real. They're filming my property. They're filming my coming and going. They're filming my kids coming and going. They're filming everything. Now, an argument could be made. Well, doesn't that make you feel safer? What if you had a home invasion? What if somebody was lurking around your property? Then there's camera footage of it. It doesn't make me feel safer because I am perfectly capable of defending my own property. And I can also call authorities if I need to. I don't feel safer with a camera facing my property. What are the chances that the camera is going to be rolling if I had a home invasion, right? And the police are going to show up because of the camera? Slim to none. I don't think the purpose is they're actively watching the cameras in progress 24/7. I think it's a recording. For years, stores have had security systems where they have cameras placed outside of the building or inside of the building. It can reach parking lots and street views. It can help police investigate crimes. Same thing with Ring cameras. People have Ring doorbells, Ring cameras. I have a camera. I have a security system. It can capture cars going by, animals, people walking, that sort of thing. However, it doesn't have AI technology. I can't see in my camera details like what kind of roof accessories a car has, or whether a car has been in an accident, or whether there is damage to a bumper. It's fuzzy, grainy. Also, it doesn't really show the true facial features of a human. Like if someone were to walk by, I couldn't even tell sometimes if it's a man or woman. One time I actually had a man in my front yard who I didn't know. It looked like he was putting something in my yard. And of course, my brain, watching YouTube channels all the time, I thought he's planting one of those devices that's going to track me, But it wasn't. It turned out it was just a guy whose dog got loose and he was chasing it up my driveway to get it out of my yard. That's all it turned out to be. But the thing is, I could see the color of his shirt on my camera, but it was very grainy. I couldn't pinpoint him from a lineup if I had to, and that's the difference. These flock cameras have AI technology, and they can pinpoint details. A personal security camera on a house, for the most part, isn't going to be able to pinpoint details such as that. People also have Meta glasses now, and everybody's in an uproar about that because now states, I think New York, bans Meta glasses. I think I saw that on YouTube, but people are in an uproar about it because they feel violated. They feel the privacy is violated. So what is the reasonable expectation of privacy? Because you often hear YouTubers explain they have a right to film. You'll see YouTubers go out in a public area and somebody will say, stop filming me. And they'll say, well, I have a right to film. So what is the reasonable expectation of privacy? And historically, courts have ruled that government buildings, public sidewalks, and open spaces have zero expectation of privacy because everything is exposed to public eye. That is why the flock cameras are not considered an invasion of our privacy or against our rights. But we'll see about that because there are groups advocating for our liberties. And they're saying, I don't care what you think, these are violating people's rights. So we'll see how this comes about. What's upsetting me, despite, the camera near my front yard, yeah, that's upsetting me. But now we're hearing reports of law enforcement being fired from their duties because they're using flock camera data for their personal knowledge. There have been stalking cases already. And that is what's concerning, that they're misusing the data for personal use. And also, what did the law say? That private companies and agencies are allowed to store the data. Well, who are they? Define that. Define private agency. Who is that? Who is storing the data and why? And why are they allowed to store it? Now, in the event of a crime and police enforcement use the data to solve the crime, yeah, save that data. That's important. Just like if you were going to a convenience store and it got held up, they were robbed. That data is important from that video surveillance camera. That's why the police go and get the tape and store that as evidence. You would want that in your favor because it proves that there was a robbery and you were there. But in the event of me driving by to go to my cleaning job, I don't want some agency storing my face or car or paint color or bumper or roof rack on their video. I don't think that's right. And I don't care if it's a public space. I just have an expectation that when I drive down the street, I'm safe in all regard, not just from crime, but also from peeping Toms. And that's how I really feel about it. But it also makes me wonder about child safety. These flock cameras are being placed in neighborhoods, around ice cream parlors, around where kids gather, where there is no historical evidence of criminal activity in the area, at least here. Why on earth is that okay? Why is that okay to film minors and then store the data about them? If I had small children, I think I would get out of here. I would move far away to a place with no flock cameras. Now, I don't know where that is now because a lot of states have these things. I think I read this morning 26 states have them. I'd get out of here. I don't want my kids on film where there's no need for it. Filming family destinations like an ice cream parlor, pizza shop, and homesteader destination like a general store for grass seed seems contrary to what they're saying the purpose of a flock camera is. They're saying the purpose of it is to aid in solving crimes or slowing down traffic. Then why is it the case they need to position it facing an ice cream parlor? My question also is, why are there so many? There's like 12 in 1 mile radius here, down near neighborhoods, not the highway. I'm not near the highway. I have to drive to get to the highway. I'm talking center of town, in neighborhoods. Why? Wouldn't one suffice? Maybe 2? 12? In a 1 mile stretch? And this is where our tax money is going? Is this why our taxes went up this year on our properties? To pay for these things? Because I don't remember voting for that. We had to vote to put in a playground. We had to vote to put in a senior center. We had to vote to update the library. We had to vote to update the school. But they did this. There was no vote. In conclusion, it no longer feels like a community. These high in the sky, intrusive data collectors watching and recording our every move feels like an overreach. Thanks for watching today. Take care.